Now, from an economic perspective, Rajdeep, this is really terrible because on the issue of freebies, which all governments need to curtail to the extent possible, you now have Arvind Kejriwal as the messiah of the freebies versus Prime Minister Modi, who's trying to do something politically tough, which is to cut back on this whole subsidy and freebie culture, but may have to pay the price politically in Gujarat and elsewhere in terms of how this debate is being built up.
No, at least in terms of the optics, in terms of the narrative, you've seen why Arvind Kejriwal is a clever politician. The moment the
Prime Minister... you can't support his freebie culture.
Look, at the end of the day, please appreciate, politics is about optics. Politics is about setting the narrative. The Prime Minister mentions Revdi culture and perhaps tries to sort of take the more statesman-like role and says, look, this is bad for the future of the economy. What does Kejriwal do? He's fighting an election in Gujarat where he hopes to make gains. He is using this now to say that the Modi government will deny you the benefits you've got so far in health and education. Forces the finance minister of the country to respond to a Delhi chief minister, something that the BJP has tried to resist in the past. So, and now even the Congress has jumped in because remember, freebies is a very, very contentious issue. What you and I may call freebies, someone else will call labhartis or beneficiaries as the BJP calls it. It is tricky politics. This is why handling the Indian economy when you move from one election to another is very difficult. When the Prime Minister...
No, but he's taken a tough stance. You remember when he would just become Chief Minister and the whole issue of electricity tariffs became big in Gujarat. Everyone around him in the BJP, in the administration said, don't insist, this will create problems. He stuck to his convictions, ensured that people paid electricity. Now Gujarat Siddharth doing much better on the issue of electricity. And this is a very, very tough line to walk politically. It's very clear that this will have political consequences, despite that the Prime Minister wanting to hold firm. What's the thinking in the government on this?
Well, the government is very clear that as far as some of the key flagship welfare schemes are concerned, they will remain. And if you look at the maths, 3.4 lakh crore has been spent on the free 5 kilo food grain scheme since April 2020. And I'll say this here on the show, Rahul, that I don't think this scheme is going to get rolled back before 2024.
So you see that...
To add Rajdeep to this, and this is history a little bit. When MG Ramachandran started the free meals for the school children, the midday meal, I actually criticized it at that time. I was a reporter in the South and I said this is not something that should be done. 40 years later, his entire free midday meal scheme has been endorsed as one of the major reasons why children's nutrition went up in this thing. They linked it with maternal health, and today Tamil Nadu has reached zero population growth largely because one of the big reasons they didn't have the kind of education Kerala had.
Fridges free,
that's a different matter.
TVs free,
no, but I'm just saying,
machines
as you know, there should be a discrimination that is there. But as Rajdeep was saying, you have to be careful. We have this old saying that, you know, one man's terrorist is the other man's freedom fighter. In this case, one man's freebie could be the other person's lifeline. So you have to make a very...
Rajdeep, if I may just add,
careful.
Mr. Kejriwal inherited a Delhi state with a complete track record of fiscal surplus. Please look at the numbers minus COVID, and there are big question marks on how the revenue and the spending profile of Mr. Kejriwal. The Delhi model cannot be exported. You will have more Bimaru states in the rest of the country.